The blue light of the teleportation pad faded as Ambassador Frank Carter and Captain Lisa Wright stepped onto the alien ship. Frank straightened his formal jacket and took a deep breath. This was humanity's first official meeting with the Galactic Council after months of radio communications. The fate of Earth might depend on what happened today. "Remember, diplomatic smiles only," Frank whispered to Lisa. She nodded, her hand never straying far from where her sidearm would normally be. As Earth's military advisor, she felt naked without it. An alien with silvery skin and large purple eyes approached them. It stood nearly 7 feet tall, its body graceful and thin. "Welcome to the Council envoy ship, humans of Earth. I am Elora, representative of the Illurian people and Council diplomatic liaison." The alien's voice was musical, its English perfect despite the unusual shape of its mouth. "High Chancellor Zextal awaits your arrival in the Grand Chamber." Frank and Lisa followed Elora through corridors that seemed to be made of living metal. The walls pulsed with soft light, and gravity shifted subtly as they walked. Other aliens passed them, some with multiple limbs, others floating rather than walking, all regarding the humans with what seemed like curious interest. 27 species form our council," the Laura explained. "For over 6,000 years, we have maintained peace among the stars. And now we welcome the 28th. The Grand Chamber took Frank's breath away. A massive dome of what looked like crystal revealed the stars beyond, while representatives of different species sat in a circular arrangement. At the center stood a being with skin like burnished gold and 4 arms, each ending in delicate 7-fingered hands. "High Chancellor Zextal," Elora announced with a slight bow. "Ambassador Carter, Captain Wright." The High Chancellor's voice resonated without seeming to come from its mouth. "Earth has shown remarkable progress. From your first crude rockets to interplanetary travel in less than a century. Truly impressive." Frank stepped forward. "On behalf of the United Nations of Earth, we are honored by this invitation and hope for a productive relationship." "More than productive," Zextal gestured, and holographic images appeared around them. "We offer technology, medicine, knowledge. Your people suffer from diseases we cured millennia ago. Your ships burn chemical fuel while we fold space. All this can be yours." Lisa's eyes narrowed slightly. "And what does the Council want in return?" A ripple of what might have been laughter passed through the chamber. A stocky, reptilian being spoke up. "Directness. How refreshing. I am Thex, of the Viridian Collective. What we want, Captain Wright, is quite simple: to welcome another sentient species to our community and ensure they don't repeat our mistakes." For the next 6 hours, terms were discussed. The Council offered technological wonders beyond imagination. In return, humanity would agree to Council oversight of weapons development and accept guidance on colonial expansion. That night, in their private quarters, Lisa paced while Frank reviewed the proposed treaty. "It's too good," she said. "Nobody gives this much for so little in return." Frank sighed. "I know, but what choice do we have? Turn down medical technology that could save billions, energy systems that could end climate change. Look at these star charts they've given us. There are threats out there we didn't even know existed." In another part of the ship, High Chancellor Zextal met with the Inner Council in a shielded chamber. "The containment assessment?" Zextal asked. A thin alien with skin like midnight displayed a series of projections. Humans show unprecedented adaptability and resource consumption. Their historical violence indicates potential extinction-level threat to Council stability. Classification: Omega. Zextal's 4 hands made a complex gesture. "Begin preliminary containment protocols. The treaty signing tomorrow will provide necessary access to their defense systems." "And if they discover our true purpose?" asked Thex. "By then," Zextal said, "it will be far too late." The next day, Frank Carter signed the treaty with a smile, unaware that he had just helped seal humanity's fate. The deception had begun. 3 years had passed since the treaty signing. Dr. Alan Morgan wiped sweat from his forehead as he studied the alien cell samples in his lab on Mars colony. The Viridian technology had made the colony possible, with its air systems and radiation shields. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, Alan had access to the Council's biological database, a treasure of information about life across the galaxy. But something wasn't right. "Computer, show me the metabolic pathways for humans and Illyrians side by side again," Alan said. The holographic display flickered to life. Alan frowned at what he saw. According to the Council database, humans and Illyrians process toxins in nearly identical ways. Yet his own tests showed completely different results. Why would they falsify this data? He muttered. Across the solar system, Commander Diane Powell stood on the bridge of the Earth ship Aurora, watching Council vessels perform maneuvers near Saturn. The joint exercise was meant to improve human-alien military cooperation. "They're moving out of the designated zone again," Commander said, her navigator, looking up from the radar. Diane's eyes narrowed. "Third time this week, and always near our defense grid relays." She tapped her communication badge. "Council Command, this is Aurora. Your ships have strayed from exercise parameters again." "Our apologies, Aurora," came the smooth reply from the Viridian captain. "Navigational error. We are correcting." After her shift, Diane pulled up old tracking data in her private quarters. It wasn't just today. For months, Council ships had been making these errors, always near critical human infrastructure. She began mapping the pattern. Back on Mars, Alan secretly downloaded portions of the Council database for comparison with his own findings. His Viridian colleague, Dr. Krill, entered his lab unexpectedly. "Working late again, Alan." Krill's voice was friendly, but his eyes moved to Alan's screen too quickly. "Just double-checking some results," Alan said casually, switching screens. "How are the adaptation trials going?" Later that night, Alan found a hidden file buried deep in the database. It was labeled Species Containment Initiative. Most of it was encrypted, but he could make out phrases like Human Neutralization Timeline and Designated Habitation Zones. His heart raced. The Council wasn't helping humanity. They were planning to control it. Meanwhile, Diane had assembled enough evidence to be concerned. Council ships had mapped Earth's entire defense network. They had inserted unknown technology into communication satellites, and their cultural exchange program had placed Council representatives in every major human government. "This isn't cooperation," she told her trusted second officer. "It's infiltration." She encrypted her findings and sent them to her former commanding officer, General Keith Harrison, back on Earth. Minutes after sending the message, all systems on the Aurora suddenly went dark. "Emergency power," Diane called. Nothing happened. A Council ship appeared alongside them, its lights harsh against the blackness of space. "Aurora, we detect a major system failure," came the Viridian captain's voice. "Prepare for emergency boarding." On Mars, Alan tried to warn Earth about his discovery. As he prepared his message, the lab door slid open. Dr. Krill stood there with two Illyrian security officers. "Dr. Morgan, the Council requests your immediate presence for consultation," Krill said smoothly. Alan knew what that meant. "I think I'll stay here, thanks." Krill sighed. "I had hoped we could do this pleasantly." He nodded to the guards. "Take him." As Alan was dragged away, he managed to send a partial message to his research partner on Earth. On Earth, General Harrison received two frantic, incomplete warnings, one from space, one from Mars. He stared at the decoded messages in his secure office, the horrible truth dawning on him. The Council had never been humanity's friend. And now, they were making their move. The Grand Hall of the United Nations sparkled with lights and decorations. Today marked the 3rd anniversary of Earth's entry into the Galactic Council. Diplomats, military officers, and government officials from around the world mingled with alien representatives. Council ships hung in the sky above major cities worldwide, their sleek forms visible even in daylight. Ambassador Frank Carter smiled and shook hands with yet another dignitary. Next to him, High Chancellor Zextal towered over the humans in the room, his golden skin reflecting the lights. "This is a historic day," Frank said loudly for the benefit of nearby journalists. "The beginning of humanity's true integration into the galactic community." "Indeed," Zextal replied, all four hands making graceful gestures. "Today marks a new phase in our relationship." Across the room, General Keith Harrison watched the proceedings with a grim expression. In his pocket was a small device containing the warnings from Commander Powell and Dr. Morgan. For weeks, he had quietly moved key personnel to secure locations, claiming it was part of a readiness drill. His aide approached. "Sir, we've lost contact with our bases in Australia and South Africa." Harrison checked his watch. It was starting. At exactly noon, the lights flickered. Phones and personal devices went dead. Outside, cars stopped in the streets. Zextal stepped to the podium as confusion spread through the crowd. "People of Earth, today marks a transition. The Council has determined that humanity requires closer supervision for your own protection and development." Military officers reached for weapons that suddenly wouldn't fire. Outside, Council ships began deploying smaller craft that took up positions above major military installations and government buildings. "What is this?" Frank demanded, stepping toward Zextal. "This is protection, Ambassador. Your species has shown concerning aggressive tendencies. The Council has voted for preventative containment." Frank's face reddened with anger. "This is an invasion. We had an agreement." "We had a treaty that you signed without fully understanding," Zextal corrected. "Perhaps you should have read the original text in Illyrian rather than our translation." As he spoke, Council soldiers entered the hall. They carried devices that emitted a low hum. People near them suddenly became calm, their anger fading. "Mood stabilizers," Zextal explained. "You'll find them quite pleasant. Your people will be relocated to appropriate habitation zones where you can live productive lives under proper supervision." Across the globe, similar scenes played out in every major city. Council ships deployed atmospheric modifiers that spread a fine mist over population centers. People who breathed it became docile and compliant. But deep beneath the lunar surface, a different scene unfolded. General Harrison had prepared a secret base, converted from an old mining operation. For months, he had quietly transferred scientists, soldiers, and their families there, based on the fragmentary warnings. "Status report," Harrison ordered, standing in the command center of what they now called Sanctuary. "Earth's defense systems are completely offline," reported a young officer. "Council ships have control of all major cities. Communications are down except for our secure channels. We're getting reports of mass gatherings. People are just walking to collection points without resistance." Harrison stared at the monitor showing Earth. Council ships surrounded the planet like vultures. "How many people did we get off-world?" he asked. "About 6,000 here on the base. Another 1,000 scattered in hidden facilities across the solar system." Harrison closed his eyes briefly. 7,000 free humans out of billions. "Sir," the communications officer called out, "we're receiving a transmission. It's the Aurora." Commander Powell managed to restart systems and evade capture. "She's heading toward us with 50 crew members." A small spark of hope ignited. "Any word from Dr. Morgan on Mars?" "Nothing confirmed, but there are reports of a breakout at the research facility. Some scientists may have escaped." Harrison nodded. "We need to establish contact with any free humans left, and we need to understand exactly what we're facing." He looked around at the frightened but determined faces. "This isn't over," he said firmly. "The Council thinks they've won. They've made a serious miscalculation about humanity." Outside, Earth rotated peacefully, unaware that its last free defenders were plotting from the shadows of the moon. 1 month after the betrayal, the lunar base Sanctuary buzzed with activity. General Harrison had converted the old mining tunnels into a functioning military headquarters. In the main conference room, he gathered his war council. "Report," he said to the tired faces around the table. Dr. Olivia Chen, a small woman with determined eyes, spoke first. I've analyzed their communication patterns. The Council uses a unified system across all their technology. It might be their weakness. Next to her, Colonel John Martinez nodded. His Special Forces team had just returned from a mission to Earth. The aliens are moving people to processing centers. They're selecting humans based on skills and sending them to different planets. Engineer Patricia Sullivan, who had helped design Earth's defense systems, pulled up a holographic display. I have good news. The 3 experimental warships that were being built beyond Neptune were not discovered. My team has finished the first one. We've named it the Defiance. Harrison nodded, a hint of hope in his eyes. We need intelligence, supplies, and more people if we're going to fight back. Martinez stood up. My team can use the stealth shuttles to conduct more rescues from Earth. The atmospheric modifiers aren't working as well as the Council expected. Some humans are building resistance to the effects. How many? Harrison asked. Small pockets in remote areas. Maybe a few thousand who are hiding. The aliens control the major cities completely. Dr. Chen raised her hand. I need computing resources. If I can create a virus that targets their unified communication protocols, we might be able to disable their technology temporarily. Harrison made his decision. Colonel, your team will conduct rescue operations focusing on scientists and military personnel. Sullivan, get those warships operational. Chen, you have full access to our computing systems. That night, Martinez led 3 stealth shuttles to Earth. They flew low over the Rocky Mountains, avoiding Council patrols. Below them, once vibrant cities stood quiet, with aliens directing orderly lines of docile humans into transport ships. Stay focused, Martinez told his team as they landed near what used to be a research facility. We have 20 minutes before the next patrol. Inside, they found 30 scientists hiding in the lower levels. One of them, Dr. Peter Ross, rushed forward. You came. I didn't think anyone would come. As they evacuated the scientists, Martinez saw Council ships in the distance. They were dismantling a factory, loading pieces onto cargo vessels. What are they doing? He asked Dr. Ross. Stripping Earth of technology and resources. They call it ecological restoration, but they're taking everything of value. Back at Sanctuary, Dr. Chen made a breakthrough. She called Harrison to her lab at 3 in the morning. Look at this, she said, pointing to her screen. The display showed alien code sequences. Their technology has a backdoor. It was built in so that higher species in the Council could control the others if needed. Can we use it? Harrison asked. Yes. I'm creating a virus. I call it the Prometheus Protocol. It could shut down their systems for hours, maybe days. Meanwhile, Sullivan reported from Neptune. The Defiance is ready. The Vengeance and Retribution will be operational within 2 weeks. Harrison gathered the War Council again. The room felt different now. There was energy, purpose. We have our first real chance, he told them. But we need more than just hope. We need a strategy that uses our strengths against their weaknesses. Dr. Ross, newly rescued from Earth, spoke up. I've been studying Council biology. Their species evolved for specific environments. None of them can adapt quickly to changing conditions. They rely completely on technology for survival in different settings. Martinez smiled grimly. While humans can survive almost anywhere with minimal support. Exactly, Harrison said. That's our advantage. They need their technology. We don't. For the first time since the betrayal, the humans had found their edge. The resistance had truly begun. And with it, humanity's first real hope. 3 months into the resistance, Colonel Martinez's team crept through an abandoned mining tunnel on Mars. The air was thin, but their minimal breathing equipment was enough. Behind them followed 20 freed human workers. Council patrol coming, whispered his second-in-command through the radio. 3 Viridians in full environmental suits. Martinez signaled his team to hide in a side tunnel. The Council soldiers passed by, completely sealed in their tech-heavy suits. They couldn't survive Mars' atmosphere for even a minute without their equipment. "That's our edge," Martinez said after the patrol passed. "They need all that gear. We don't." Back at Sanctuary, all three warships were now operational. The Defiance, Vengeance, and Retribution floated in formation near Neptune, hidden from Council sensors. Each ship carried weapons and the Prometheus virus Dr. Chen had created. In the command center, General Harrison studied a stolen Council star chart. "They've moved about 40% of Earth's population off-world so far," he told Sullivan and Chen. "Most are being sent to these labor colonies." "The Council species aren't built for manual work," Sullivan observed. "They need humans for that." Dr. Chen looked up from her computer. "I've decoded more of their communications. Listen to this." She played a recorded message between two Council commanders. "Containment Protocol 7 has been activated for the human problem," said the alien voice. "High Command is concerned about their adaptation rate. The behavior modifiers are becoming less effective each week." "Were the simulations wrong?" asked the second voice. "No, the simulations were clear. In any extended conflict, humans would eventually win through adaptability alone. That's why immediate containment was ordered." Harrison's eyes widened. "They're not just afraid of us being unpredictable. They're afraid we'd win a war against them." That changed everything. Harrison called an emergency meeting of all resistance leaders. "We have confirmation that humans are developing resistance to their control methods on Earth," he announced. "And we know why they really contained us. We are the only species in the galaxy that can outmaneuver them in the long run." Martinez nodded. "My teams have been operating in environments the Council considers deadly without their technology. We've established hidden bases in places they never check. Deep ocean trenches, volcano calderas, Arctic zones." Sullivan added, "The warships are ready. They have no idea we have operational military vessels." "And my virus is complete," said Dr. Chen. "Once deployed, it will disrupt their systems for approximately 6 hours." Harrison laid out his plan. "We're not just going to fight back. We're going to take the war to them. Martinez, your teams will target their supply lines here in our solar system. Sullivan, prepare the warships for a strike against their nearest outposts. Chen, get ready to deploy the virus across their entire network." "What about the humans still on Earth?" asked Martinez. "According to our latest intelligence, the atmospheric modifiers are failing. More humans wake up each day. We'll send coded messages to resistant groups to coordinate a planet-wide uprising." That night, Martinez led the first strike against a Council fuel depot near Jupiter. His team used simple shuttles and minimal technology, things the Council wouldn't expect or easily detect. They planted explosives, then retreated to a small moon the Council had deemed uninhabitable due to radiation levels. For Council species, the radiation was deadly. For humans with basic shielding, it was manageable for short periods. The depot exploded, destroying 3 Council supply ships. When Council investigators arrived, they found no trace of the attackers. Similar strikes happened across the solar system. Council commanders were baffled. Their sensors detected no human technology, yet their operations were being systematically disrupted. In his command ship, a Viridian general received a message that had been left at each attack site. The same simple phrase, translated into all Council languages: "You should have run while you had the chance." For the first time, fear spread through the Council forces. They had expected defeated compliance, not clever resistance, and certainly not humans who could fight back without the technology the Council had so easily disabled. General Harrison stood on the bridge of the Defiance, looking at the holographic display of 3 star systems. Each showed a key Council outpost. After 6 months of planning, the time had come for humanity's biggest move yet. "All ships report ready, sir," said Sullivan from her engineering station. Harrison nodded. "Dr. Chen, status of the Prometheus protocol." Chen looked up from her console. "Uploaded to all 3 warships. Once activated, it will spread through their communication network. We'll have 6 hours before they can adapt. Harrison addressed the crews of all 3 warships through the comm system. Today we strike back, not just for Earth, but for our future as a species. The Council thought they could contain us. They were wrong. The 3 warships activated their engines, heading for separate targets in different star systems. The Defiance, commanded by Harrison, would hit the Council's main communications hub. The Vengeance would target their military training center. The Retribution would strike at their largest transport station, where humans were being processed for labor assignments. On Earth, the Resistance had grown stronger each week. The Council's atmospheric modifiers had an unexpected flaw. Human biology adapted to them faster than anyone predicted. Millions had broken free of the control drugs, organizing into hidden groups. Council soldiers fought to maintain order, but found themselves facing hit-and-run attacks from humans using simple weapons and clever tactics. The aliens, dependent on their technology and unable to adapt to Earth's varied environments, struggled to respond. The Defiance dropped out of light speed near a massive space station orbiting a red giant star. Council ships immediately moved to intercept. "They've spotted us," Sullivan reported. "As expected," Harrison said calmly. "Dr. Chen, deploy the virus." Chen pressed a sequence of buttons. Prometheus protocol activated. Throughout the Council station, lights flickered. Defense systems went offline. Communications failed. The same happened simultaneously at the other 2 targets as the Vengeance and Retribution deployed the virus. "Launch boarding shuttles," Harrison ordered. Teams of human soldiers, led by officers trained by Martinez, launched toward the defenseless station. Unlike the Council species, they carried minimal technology, just enough to survive in space. If their equipment failed, they had backups and manual overrides. On the station, panicked Council staff tried to restore systems. Their environmental controls were failing. For the Council species, this was life-threatening. For the humans boarding their station, it was merely uncomfortable. A similar scene played out at all 3 targets. The Council forces, used to technological superiority, found themselves facing an enemy that could function without advanced systems. Harrison led a team to the station's control center. They encountered little resistance. Most of the aliens were struggling just to breathe as their life support faltered. "Secure the command center," Harrison ordered his team. "Download their databases. We need intelligence on their entire operation." In another section of the station, a human strike team found something unexpected. A detention center holding diplomatic prisoners, including Ambassador Frank Carter. "General Harrison sent you," Carter asked in disbelief as they freed him. "Yes, sir. We've been building a resistance since the betrayal." Carter looked stunned. "They told us everyone had submitted. That resistance was impossible." "They were wrong about humans," the rescue leader said. Back on the bridge, Harrison received the reports from all 3 ships. The missions were successful. They had captured vital intelligence, rescued hundreds of human prisoners, and delivered a powerful message to the Council. Among the intelligence they discovered was evidence of division within the Council. Several species, including the Nathori and Corellians, had opposed the containment of humans but were outvoted. "They have allies we didn't know about," Harrison told his officers as they prepared to return to the solar system. "And now they know we can hit them where it hurts." As the human ships departed, they left the same message displayed on all Council screens. "Humans are not contained. You should have run while you had the chance." For the first time since the betrayal, the Galactic Council called an emergency session. The balance of power had shifted. 1 year after the betrayal, representatives from both sides gathered on a neutral space station. The room was tense as General Harrison, Ambassador Carter, Dr. Chen, and Engineer Sullivan sat across from High Chancellor Zextal and delegates from other Council species. "You have forced this meeting," Zextal said, his golden skin dull with stress. "But containment remains the only safe option for your kind." Harrison shook his head. "Containment is no longer possible. Half of Earth's population has broken free of your control. Our ships have liberated 6 labor colonies. Your forces are stretched thin responding to attacks you can't predict. Carter stepped forward, facing the council members directly. We trusted you. You betrayed us. Now you want us to trust you again. A tall, blue-skinned alien rose from the council side. Not all of us agreed with containment. I am Traz, representative of the Nathori. We and the Corellians voted against this action from the beginning. But you did nothing to stop it, Sullivan said bitterly. We were bound by council law, Traz replied. But now we formally request a new vote of no confidence in the current leadership. Murmurs spread through the council delegation. Zextal's 4 hands made an angry gesture. This is not the time for division. This is exactly the time, said a Corellian delegate, her feathered crest rising. Your policies have failed. The humans grow stronger while we grow weaker. Dr. Chen opened a data tablet. We have evidence of other species you've contained throughout history, species that eventually died out under your protection. We've shared this evidence with all council worlds. Harrison leaned forward. Here is our proposal. A new galactic charter. One based on cooperation, not control. Each species retains its autonomy. Technology and knowledge are shared freely. And Earth is recognized as a founding member with full rights. Or, Zextal asked. Or we continue this war, Harrison said quietly. A war your own simulations show you will eventually lose. We've learned to replicate much of your technology. We adapt faster than you can contain us. And unlike you, we can survive in almost any environment with minimal support. He didn't need to mention that the Prometheus Protocol could have been used to permanently disable life support on Council worlds. The fact that humans had shown restraint spoke volumes. The Council members looked at each other. Traz spoke again. I move for an immediate vote on the human proposal. Over the next several hours, representatives from all 27 Council species debated and voted. In the end, the result was clear. 21 species voted to accept the new charter. Zextal and 5 others opposed it. The motion carries, announced Traz. High Chancellor Zextal, you are relieved of your position under Article 7 of Council Law. As guards led the former Chancellor away, a new era began. The signing ceremony for the new Galactic Charter took place on Earth, in the same United Nations hall where the betrayal had been revealed a year before. 6 months later, Harrison stood on a balcony overlooking New Washington, watching as humans and aliens worked together to rebuild. Council ships now helped return displaced humans to Earth. The labor colonies had been disbanded. Earth's cities were recovering. A Viridian commander approached him. General, I must ask. Your Prometheus virus could have killed us all by disabling our life support permanently. Why show restraint when we showed none? Harrison looked at the alien for a long moment. Because restraint is also part of being human. We wanted to survive, not conquer. We wanted justice, not revenge. Your species remains unpredictable, the Viridian said. Yes, Harrison agreed. You should have run when you realized what we were, but I'm glad you stayed. We all have much to learn from each other. In the Council's biological archive, far across the galaxy, a final change was made. The classification for humans was updated. No longer extinction-level threat, but founding species, new galactic alliance. Humanity had faced extinction and emerged stronger, not through superior technology or greater numbers, but through their unique ability to adapt, endure, and ultimately forgive.